Welcome, Hornetland. This is Dr. Don, your host of Hornetcast. We think episode 10 of season 2. We know it's season 2. With my co-host.
I'm Maya, and I'm from 11th grade.
You're from 11th grade?
No, well, I am in 11th grade.
You are in 11th grade. Our focus today is on the think tank.
Yeah.
We had a think tank 2 weeks ago at CAG. So, Maya, you did a little Hornetcast explaining what the think tank was going to be before the think tank.
Yeah.
Now you've gone through the think tank. You were one of the 7 students on the think tank.
Yes.
We're hoping to have a few more of them come and talk about the think tank. But you were in a group. Tell us about the group that you were in.
Well, all groups were conformed by parents, teachers, some outside thinker, and a VIP that was us, the kids. So
You were the VIPs.
I was the VIP
Okay.
in my group. Yeah. So in my group, I was with Miss Chacon, a lower school teacher, Kevin McGinley. You said
Kevin Mattingly.
McGinley. Yeah.
From Columbia University.
A professor from Columbia University, and a parent from a student in middle school, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, we were like a lot of different people from different spaces of the school, which was super fun. And I think that's what made the think tank a little great, actually.
Pretty cool. So, what did you like best about the think tank? Other than the food.
Oh, the food was so great.
Wasn't it good?
It was really good. I really like learning from Kevin. I think he was really fun. I learned a lot from him. I chatted a lot with him. I also enjoyed talking to Mr. Palumbo, the organizer. And
One of the facilitators.
yeah, he was so fun too. And I think that my favorite activity was just like trying to think of how the school could be if there was like no barriers and stuff. And having all these different perspectives was just amazing.
So we started with what the David Palumbo, you mentioned
Yeah.
him, and then Rich
Richard.
Berner,
Yeah.
right? Those two were our facilitators of the think tank. They're outside thought leaders in education. We started with the why. It was part of this process they called the fusion process.
Yeah.
Right? So tell us about the why, Maya.
So
Why?
in our why, we were thinking about why we want to change the school. We did some questions, the impossible questions, as we call them, which were questions that had no right answer, or not even an answer, because it was like so hypothetical. And then we realized, okay, why are we doing this? What's going on right now that we could change, probably? And then we discussed it as a group. Remember, we got in the circle.
We had a little focus,
Yeah.
like kind of a fishbowl.
We
Like
had a fishbowl,
one group
yeah.
was in there. You were in there.
I
right?
was in there, yeah.
You guys were in the middle, and then we had 50 people in the think
Yeah.
tank. We had 8 groups. So we had a little representative group, and you were in that, and we all watched you
Yeah,
while you were talking.
we discussed all our questions, and since we had so many different people and from different perspectives, we all discussed like from our point of view why we were there and why school should change, and answer our impossible questions. That was pretty fun.
But can you give us an example of the question? Like, which question did you have?
My question was, if you could if you could unlearn something, what would you unlearn and how would you relearn it?
Okay.
And and another question we had was, what would happen if classes started with the teacher saying, I don't know? That was another cool question. And we had, I think, 7 questions or 8 questions.
There was 8 different questions.
Yeah.
I think the question I had was knowing the way the world is changing with AI and advances in everything. What scares you the most about the future of education?
Yeah.
That was mine.
And someone in my group had, if you could if you could run a school where nothing was mandatory but everything was irresistible, what would you do?
Ah, that's right.
That was a really
we
cool.
talked about that one in my
Yeah,
group.
we
it
talked
was a
about
good
that.
question.
It was
There
really
was
fun.
There was one about what if the purpose of school was to fail.
Yeah, that
Right?
was another
Like-
one, and I think that's 7. I think.
Yeah. So there were questions that were really good to discuss in our groups.
But they were all
because
really fun.
there's not a right answer, and they're hard questions, but also they make you think like a little bit differently.
They do, because it's something you're not used to. Because, of course, you don't think, why should we go to school to fail, right? And I think those questions were really interesting and just, they were really fun to answer. And as a group in the little fishbowl, I think that was amazing.
Interesting. So the why question is the beginning of the fusion process. Why do we do what we do? And why do we need to change possibly?
Yeah.
What is your impressions of why do we need to look at a future and changes in our current present state to match that future? Why would we need to do that?
Well, something we discussed in our group was that many of the jobs we are teaching our kids are jobs we have today. Like, you could be a physicist, but in the future, you'll have jobs that you can't even imagine. There's so many jobs that don't even exist today. So we need to change our system or our school or implement new things to prepare kids to be able to do those jobs if they like them and to succeed in a future that is super uncertain. So I think that's why we should change, or I don't know, adapt to this future where we know absolutely nothing and it's super uncertain. So we need to prepare people for that. Yeah.
That's a good point. I think I remember one of the fathers on the think tank said that they had a friend that asked them 4 years ago, my kids wanted to go into computer science.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I told them, yeah, computer science is the future, right?
Yeah.
Now if you have a computer science major,
Everyone.
you're unemployed.
It's pretty common now. So
Right.
yeah, I think.
It's challenging. So we talked in the think tank quite a bit about, so what is it that students would need to prepare them for an uncertain future?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and what were some of the things that groups thought were really more important than maybe our traditional learning of where you go to a classroom and you learn math here, you learn science here, you learn social studies, you learn lenguaje here. Instead of learning these separate things, what skills were more important that we talked about?
I believe number one was problem solving. I think that one was number one. Learning how to learn was also a big one. How you learn as a student and
Oh, sorry.
no
Right there.
no this
This picture is in the way.
okay.
Ah,
Ahí está bien. Okay, so a big one was problem solving, learning how to learn.
uh-huh.
I think both of those help you a lot in the future. We talked about how no matter where you are, no matter what are you gonna study, no matter what point in your life you're at, you're gonna need problem solving. Learning how to learn was a big one in terms of, okay, I'm a really active person. I'm not gonna be able to just sit in a class for 1 hour straight and listen to a teacher talk. That's probably
You've tried that?
I
Doesn't work
try
very
it
well
every
for you.
day. It doesn't work pretty well. I mean, eventually you get it, but
Yeah.
it's how you learn. I think another one was choice and critical thinking
Uh-huh.
was a big one. We also talked about community building, be able to collaborate with others, and to implement what you want, what you're interested in, into other projects. I think that was also a big one.
I'm glad I brought you along because I couldn't remember all of those, but you did.
I
great
paid a
job
lot of
remembering,
attention.
yeah. So your group worked for 2.5 days.
Yep.
And you were working on the fusion process, which the second step of the fusion process is what could be.
Yeah.
Tell me about what could be. How did that? I mean, we worked on what could be probably for a day and a half.
It was a really long one, but I think it's one of the most important ones, and it consisted in what could our school be if it had no boundaries, no limits, if money, time, nothing.
Yeah, so you don't have to make like excuses and say, "Oh, it'd be too hard to do that."
Yeah.
We don't have enough money, or that would cost too much.
So in that process, at least in my group, I think we went crazy, full out, challenging everything. I think that was the most fun of it. Kevin can tell you. I questioned everything he said, And I was
He's a
actually,
little bit older than you.
yeah, but you know, he was the one
And-
challenging everything, and I was the one like keeping the
So you're keeping the peace?
I was like, no, Kevin, you need math all along high school. I was like, why? I was like,
So he was saying why, or you were saying why?
no, he was saying why.
He was saying why. Okay.
And
so
then-
he was challenging you.
He was questioning everything at first in the school system,
Okay.
and then we switched roles, and then I was questioning everything he said, and I was like, why don't you need math? So I think that was really fun. I think that happened in all of the groups. We're questioning everything we know, and of course trying to like let go of what we have now, because what we have now, of course, is really great, but when doing this activity, you need to go above and beyond and just out of it. And yeah,
Schools, generally speaking, are very traditional.
yeah,
Like we talked about that a little bit in the think tank, that schools were actually invented during the Industrial Revolution, the way that they're constructed now, where they wanted to create workers. And so the bells came from the factories. Like they used
Yeah.
those for shifts and changes in the factory. And so basically they said, let's build schools so that we can educate kids in a way to where they can do these jobs. And that was like the 1910, 1920s.
long
And
time.
we're like 100 years later, and schools are still the same. They're still like boxes with rows and chairs and desk and bells. But that's not necessarily something that supports learning.
Yeah.
Also, grades
Yeah,
was something we talked a lot about, where grades were invented to sort kids for the factories,
yeah,
right? And so, like, if you had a skill in this area, you got a good grade, and then you could go get this job. And now grades are still for sorting,
yeah,
but they're counterproductive when it comes to learning, because
Yeah.
kids, and a lot of your classmates that are in the think tank notice this too, is a lot of our students at CAG, they're like, what do I need to do to get 100? Right? And it's not about learning for them, it's about getting a grade. Why do they want the grade? So that they can go to the university they want to go to. But what a lot of people don't even know is universities recalculate GPAs and transcripts based on what they like and what they want. And you actually don't even have to give grades. There's many students that don't have grades that are university students.
Yeah.
All the homeschoolers, a lot of schools that use different grading systems or no grading systems at all. But there's ways to show a university what a student knows and what they can do. And we were constricted to a model that was created in the 1920s for grading and for sorting workers. But those jobs in the factories, they don't exist anymore.
no.
We got robots doing all that stuff.
Yeah, and
Like,
we're gonna have, I don't know what else in the future. I think
but we keep doing school the way that we've done school for 100 years because everybody's used to it.
Yeah.
I'm used to it because that's how school was for me. My parents were used to it because that's how school was for them. And so as a community, eventually we got to let go of the traditional schematic that was created in the Industrial Revolution and say, well, what's more important? And it's those competencies that you talked about earlier, like critical thinking, problem solving, right? And being able to communicate and collaborate. Those are more important. But you guys came up in your 2.5 days with a presentation because we wanted to come up with what we call a keystone.
Yeah.
And you actually have a graphic behind your head that your group came up with where you said this is what schools should be about.
Yes, I mean our keystones, what schools should be like, the non-negotiable. Every kid should, when they
Do
graduate.
you want to like stand up and present your
Yeah.
poster?
Yeah.
Because and show them what the keystone is, because some people don't know what a keystone is.
So a
It's-
keystone.
can you point to it? It's
This is the keystone.
right.
Basically, a keystone is a rock in an arch that holds everything together. They were invented in like Rome, ancient Rome, and
Probably before that.
this
but
rock
yeah.
is like the most important part of the arch. It holds everything together, and it's just tension. So our keystone in my group, at least, it was fulfilling. We said in Spanish realización, which we couldn't find a term in English, but yeah. well-being, happiness, and thriving. We believe that every student at CAG or in any school, when they graduate, they should have achieved this or gotten to this point. These are our non-negotiables.
Okay.
So how do we get there is our columns. So we said sleep, very important, especially when
What do you mean by sleep? Like students don't get enough of it.
we don't get enough of it. We have
Okay.
homework, we had APs, we have lots of responsibilities.
You're on the bus at 5 in the morning.
I'm at school at 6:30, so
Yeah.
it's too early. So yeah, sleep is a big one. I think a lot of sleep makes you happy. So yeah, physical health, another important one. It's proven that if you have a good physical health, that you stay active, you're actually gonna be able to concentrate better. So we believe that physical health was important. Collaboration, super important for building community. And if we're building a community, then the community can thrive, not just us individual. And autonomy is also very important along with collaboration. So you being able to do things that you like by yourself, but also be able to share with others. And I think that's I don't think it's here, but both of these ideas is something that Kevin insisted along in the think tank. It was
Purpose beyond
beyond
self.
self. That was my
You
biggest.
said that a bunch of times.
That was
Purpose beyond self.
my biggest takeaway in the think tank. And basically what purpose beyond self means is you finding your own purpose and how you're gonna implement it into your community, into society. So he was like, okay, Maya, you want to be an architect? I was like, yeah. Why? Because I want to build buildings and design. Why? And he said, because you want people to enjoy those buildings. You want people to feel safe in them, to say, hey, look at this beautiful building. I want to live there. And just being able to give back to your community with your purpose. I think that was my biggest takeaway.
Awesome.
Choice is also very important. Being able to pick not only like what classes, but how you're gonna show your learning. I think not everyone does well in tests, and that was another really debatable one in the think tank, testing and scoring. Then mentorship was a very important one. I think teachers should allow us to not only go step by step, but also besides guiding us, let us work independently, so we can actually grow by ourselves. I think that when you get just thrown in the water, you learn how to swim by yourself, and I think mentorship is about that. What else? Self-awareness is very important. What I'm good at, what can I improve to grow? Time in nature. We have a beautiful campus that's getting renovated. We're gonna have lots of trees. I think we can learn a lot about nature. Useful feedback. The best one, I think. If we're debating grades, but one thing that was highly mentioned was feedback, and is how we grow. I don't know how can I improve from a 75, let's say, but if my mentor, as I said, could say hey, you did all of this really well, you can improve here by doing this, and having just that talk, that connection can actually help you grow. Compared to
help you get to mastery,
yeah,
instead of just getting to a score that doesn't mean a whole lot.
I mean, 100 doesn't mean anything if
Right.
I'm just doing it for the 100.
Right.
Flexible studying, really important.
Flexible scheduling.
Yeah. What else?
You have
Learn
how to learn, which you talked about earlier.
Yeah, and mastery, as we talked,
Yeah.
said. So those were our pillars to our keystones. To if every student, in this case Juanito, who was our example.
That's Juanito.
That was our guinea pig in my group, at least. Juanito's gonna be strong, fulfilled. Well, he will have well-being, happiness, and he will be thriving, ready to get into the world with all his skills and really happy.
So this is your ideal school or learning place.
Yeah.
Your groups.
Yeah, I mean, I think my ideas are really highly represented here, but I think if schools had all of this, we would have a happy, fulfilled community. I know you talk a lot about fulfilled life or impactful life, meaningful lives, so I think this is a little bit how you get to that, and of course...
You want to be like Juanito.
We all want to be not like Juanito. We want to achieve what
We want to all have the opportunity
Yeah.
to
to
grow.
experience like Juanito.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's great, Maya. Thank you for presenting your poster
Yeah.
and your group's poster. And you have some pretty smart people in your group.
I think
Not just you.
I
You
believe-
might be the smartest one, but Kevin Mattingly, professor at Columbia, he's in education. Right,
Yeah.
Right. And so he knows a lot about what learning looks like, and he's done a lot of work with learning in the brain. Right. And
Yeah.
so I think it's interesting that we would have a thought leader like that in your group working with parents and students and teachers and administrators, and you guys came up with
Yeah.
really good keystone,
It was.
really good kind of the how do you get there.
I think how was really important, and I also believe I had the best group. I had so much fun with Kevin. I debated everything.
We're gonna have to send this video to Kevin,
Please.
so that he can check it out.
Kevin is my new best friend.
I don't know if he'll feel the same way. Will he feel the same way about you?
Of course he will.
Okay,
We were best friends in the think tank. We debated each other
that's awesome.
every time.
That's awesome. Well, there's only one thing left to say to the community after this think tank Hornet cast.
Yep.
It's on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go Hornets!